Warm up. That was a warm up. Yes. Yeah. Moving in just fortress like it. And I don't even need the army. Why?
What's going on? Lozart coming back with another video. Man, look. There's a lot going on in this world right now, man. So I think that it's just timely that we just speak about what's going on. I'm not one to really be very focused on aspects of entertainment news to the extent of anyone's detriment. However, we gotta talk about this right now. You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So let me just give you a little backdrop real quick. All right, we got the singer, actor. You probably seen him in all of your Fast and Furious movies, the series. You know what I'm saying? Tyrese Gipson. You know, back in the day, he was on the Coca-Cola commercial where he was like crooning on the urban city bus and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was some ladies around or whatever. They were saying this nigga killing it. But that's when he was a young dude. He's an older fella now, right? And so, with that being stated, you know, we have to keep everything in perspective. He is in his 40s now, right? And he is dating a younger, well, he married a younger woman, beautiful woman, um, by the name of Samantha Lee. However, this woman, just to give a full backdrop before we get into it, this woman basically started a YouTube channel. She's into riding the wave of many dating coaches or life experience coaches or whatever they will prescribe themselves to be on any particular day of the week, right? And so, with that being stated, she's also the ex-wife and mother of Tyrese Gipson's daughter, or at least one of his daughters. I don't know his whole background like that, right? So basically, this is just his most recent ex-wife. Let's just say that, okay? And so, with that being the case, this lady is clouding up. She's getting the bag. She's going after it. She's doing what she feels she needs to do as a woman. And of course, you know what I'm saying, living in America, even as a black go. And so playing the game is essential. However, you do have to be very weary in regards to the level of games that are played because it can get very, very detrimental for everyone involved, including the child, you know what I'm saying? So um, that's what it really comes down to. But we're sitting in a space now. I'm talking about the social media world because we're in a group chat, right? Where we're viewing a woman who got away, right? She did what she wanted to do. Not judging. Maybe all the feminists will come at me and state that maybe she deserved to do so. She worked hard to do so, or she was abused enough to do so, right? But then again, at the same time, with this, and Samantha Lee, she's a Scorpio. I looked it up. I had to mention that real quick. I have siblings that are Scorpios. I know people very close to my children that are Scorpios. I'm not into the zodiac like that, but I'm just saying people have similarities. And so, with that being stated, I also have sisters that are Scorpios, whom I love, right? But we still gotta, call a spade. And as I used to hear when I was a child, a motherfucker, right? So I'm gonna call a spade, and a motherfucker when I see him, right? And so when it come down to it, man, look, Tyrese Gipson, it looked like he was going through some things even online, really battling with whatever the circumstance was between him and his ex-wife, and then the well-being of a baby girl, a very young baby girl. I believe at least 0 to 5, whatever the age is. I'm not into their business like that, but we just give you some understanding before we jump into it, right? So, since this is the case, we have to look at it holistically. But you know what? Let's just get into the video real quick. Let's see how much information we can glean from this, and then we'll just, give our thoughts on it as well, right? All right, let's go.
I try my very best at this point in my life to be what I didn't have in that moment. Because women, we're like, I'm an extremely emotional person. People that know me know that about me. I'm the kind of person that, like, okay, I feel so strong, and I can ruminate. I can get so lost in my thoughts. I know a lot of women are like that. Like, we're a lot, not all of us, right? But some of us are. Just like a lot of men can be like that. But I know women specifically, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I can't stand this. You don't do this. You don't do that. Blah, 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 blah. And we're just focusing on these things. And because you don't have a certain person in your life to check you and say, sis, what about this? What about these strengths? What about what he's not doing? What if, like, those types of things? That can get you thinking about the positive aspects of this person that you may not be thinking about when you're upset. You're only thinking about what you're mad about. You're not thinking about all the other positive aspects of this person. And
Let's pause it right there for a second. That she said a lot. She said a mouthful, didn't she? Right. I did. This woman is a Scorpio, so I have to, place aside my personal biases that I may have. Not anything negative, but like I mentioned, I have two sisters that's Scorpios, and I have a brother that's a Scorpio, and I know, people that's close to me are Scorpios, right? So I understand the emotional nature of such a person. However, irrationality, delusion, things of that nature are rampant in our society right now. It's a coping mechanism. It's something like Percocet, Molly, fentanyl. You know what I'm saying? Like OxyContin. It's a pill that people take to manage, right? You know what I'm saying? And so, with that being the case, let's look at it holistically now. If we're using clout to cope with life, if we're using lies to cope with life, if we're using someone else did me wrong, whether you're a man or a woman nowadays, it doesn't matter. But someone else other than myself and my personal steps and actions and character and learning and stumbling and still growing and ability to say my bad and still move forward and keep relationships. If I don't have that, then of course it's going to hinder others, right? And so when it hinders others, it's always not in the public eye view. It's always going to be somewhat in a space where, especially if we're talking about a person that has certain sociopathic understandings or maybe even leaning towards narcissistic understandings, they're going to try to do it outside of the view of public. They're going to try to do it in secluded areas or within spaces where they feel comfortable. It's like a fungus that grows. It's going to do it in the most comfortable space, not in uncontrollable spaces that makes it uncomfortable, right? So, with that being stated, we do have to take everything into understanding and see where this lady's coming from, because she's leading women somewhere. So let's lead in terms of listen, right? Because we lead by the understanding of faith. Is that not correct? And you get faith by learning. Is that not correct? You get it by listening. You have to listen to those who have some level of understanding. But let's go.
And so in those moments, you need somebody to be the person for that person.
Yeah.
It's my child's father. I have a lot of respect for him. There will always be a part of me that will love him because of like what we share together.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap. You got to know when somebody's capping with you now, right? A lot of times we spend a lot of time, you know what I'm saying, glamming up for the cameras. But at points, you got to stop the cap.
In the child that I look at every day, like she looks like him, you know, she looks like us, and like, you know,
Wow.
Yeah, it's just beautiful.
That is something. Are you now in the spirit of potentially even being able to rekindle a relationship like?
Oh my gosh, you just asked me this.
Look at that smile. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. It's amazing. It's amazing. But she has something to lose. So she's not going to get with someone who has less to lose than her, especially the man that she already chose to move away from has more than both of them. Whether it's socially, whether it's respect level, whether it's, impact, you know what I mean? And so any step forward would be a step backwards. So it's hustling backwards. Let's keep going.
Can we get an edit?
You see the fellas with the laughs on them right there, like you see my man with the beard right there. I ain't stunting on bro at all. Like I'm just shouting him out real quick. Like he gave a fake laugh on him. Like, you know, our niggas had a Hollywood wave and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing official, but it's just recognizing. All right, I heard some, I heard something right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, fake shit just came across the radar, and so you have to peep game with it. And so, yeah, that's an understanding that young men have to obtain very early on, especially if they are in areas where life and death is a daily decision. You dig what I'm saying? Where you have to make the best decision for yourself and for your family and for those that matter to you most, of course. And so while doing so, this is a understanding that I bet you a lot of even black women or black mothers don't even understand about their black sons or their black husbands or their black brothers as they're coming up. You know what I'm saying? Everything is always a battle, with males, with men. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the times, because women don't, I would say women aren't trained, not even how we most train. Most of us are trained through the media and what comes through our phones, our televisions, our radio, our music. Since that's the main source of information that we get, a lot of us just consequently are not trained to hear one another. Right? Right? And so I believe that, because even me coming up, I only had mostly my brothers. I do have sisters, but they were older. So I didn't grow up in a house with them. I grew up with most of my brothers. So I was tone deaf to how women talk until I got older and dealt with enough of them. For times, you know what I'm saying? Spend the amount of time living in the house with them, whatever, working with them, whatever, where you begin to pick up on certain things. If you're aware, if you're knowledgeable, if you are attentive, if you're keen on understanding, things like that, right? So all the things that women want to hear from their man who's a super thug, he's Tupac in a suit type shit, right? But what I'm saying though is that, like, when it really comes down to it, men have to learn how women even speak to even understand how to appropriately get them what they need when they need it, right? So let's flip that on the other foot, right? Flip the shoe on the other foot. So, I'm talking about the brother right here, you know what I'm saying? And he just gave like a little half-hearted laugh. I wouldn't stun no bro at all. I'll just point it out, like, because he heard, you know what I'm saying, on his airwaves. I would assume that that's their podcast, that's their show, radio show, whatever, you know what I'm saying, type of broadcast that they're doing. The fellas is what I'm saying. So, of course, they have a high profile guest, so they're going to have her on there, for their personal content. I get that. Okay, cool. But when he heard some fuck shit come across the airways, and he kind of gave it like a half laugh, like, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what was that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because even women have to learn how to even understand how men even talk and how we think. Most women don't do that because they don't get an opportunity to really be around men. They sometimes, I would say, from what I've seen, a lot of girls that I dated didn't have fathers. Now, the ones that did, they would spend specific time around their fathers. Other time they'd be around, the family or whoever else, right? And so, with that being the case, they don't get an opportunity, especially our baby girls, to really know what it is to be around a man unless they have brothers. Well, I mean, that's not even a man yet. That's a man child. But he's growing, he's learning. So she can understand things as he's growing and learning. But how a man operates is totally different to her. You know what I'm saying? And I said all this, I got off tension a bit, but I said all this to even speak about the parameters and the depth of just how this particular circumstance between Tyson Gipson and his ex-wife Samantha Lee is even affecting the family, the children. He has a baby girl. I'm trying to instill in her what a man looks for in a woman. His mother is supposed to teach her how to be one, how to be a woman, that is, right? But a father is going to show her what a man should look like, but then also put in her mind what a man really does look for within a woman. So she's not lacking when she get to a certain age.
Is that a hard question?
It's loaded because of the fact that there's been so much that's happened, like there's been so much that's occurred. Okay. It's my daughter's father. So I would say this. I would say that if we were both going to show up and we were both going to fight for it equally and sacrifice equally, like, things that I needed and, things that, he needed. I wasn't perfect.
Stop the cap. We're going to stop it right We're going to stop it right there because, I mean, like, man, I'm going to be honest with you. Guys. When it really come down to it, we really do need to put our family first. Men, women, boys, girls, everyone. Okay? And when I say that, I mean that for real. I think we all need to put our family first. I think that is so necessary. I think our wives are the most important thing to our family structure. It really does matter, based on, what type of understanding that we have, in terms of a family, right? And so, I don't know, man. I think like a lot of, what we do or don't do really is contingent upon, whether we are trying to be the best examples that we can be for our family. I think that's the best way to do it. Just try to be the best example that you can be for your family, right? So, all right, that was Samantha Lee. That was her viewpoint, right? And so we got to get into it. We still got to get into it. We got more coming. And wait, there's more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really one of those circumstances where we got to, okay? But let's jump into this next video here. You know what I'm saying? And again, shout out to False Ed Media. You know what I'm saying? I'm reviewing his videos really briefly, and he's been consistent with some good videos and just tapping into the culture. So shout out to him. But let's jump into this next video real quick. This is Tyrese's response.
The sandbox. Everything about the way you left me was heartless. It was evil. You never considered me, your marriage, and let alone your innocent 1-year-old child. She had to celebrate her second birthday apart. And if you really are really suddenly caring about the effects that you had on me and your family, why don't you sit these lawyers off me? Call your lawyers right now and tell them that everything that you're still trying to get right now, you don't want it no more. 20,000.
That seems like a fair request. Now, that's what I'm saying. Does she get mad after this? If she gets mad after this and continues to press him, to pursue him in the courts, then all this was cap.
Hey, I'm just gonna stop it right there, man. You know what I mean? I'm not one that really takes pleasure in speaking about anything negative. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be honest with you. I think that a lot of divorce proceedings are publicity driven. Some people like attention, some people don't. But then again, like that attention can bring a bag to some people who are seeking any route. Because that's what I think about like negative attention. Like a person that desires any level or amount of attention, they're willing to do anything to get the bag. That's how I equate it. Just my personal understanding about things. But you know what? Man, we got some more information though. But wait, there's more. Like for real, like it really gets deep because when we really look at this situation in regards to marriage and how some marriages are doomed to fail, unfortunately. Some marriages are never started to fail though. They're started to have some level of long lasting legacy makes even better sense, right? And so I think when it comes down to it, we have to look at it for what it really is, though. For a lot of people, it is their come up. It is their opportunity to shine and to be important. Let's jump into this next video real quick. So we got a response. Well, actually, this is the initial video. I'm so sorry. Not a response. The initial video, which prompted the response of Tyrese. Okay. This is his ex-wife. And again, shout out to Riva TV, man. She's pretty dope, you know. I think like her takes on certain current events be spot on, and just check her out if you get an opportunity. However, we're gonna jump into this video really quickly and just see what Samantha Lee has to state at this moment. Let's go.
I would not have made that decision.
Oh.
Let me slow that down. Hold on. We don't want them speaking too fast. We want the people to hear what this lady got to say, because what she's saying is important.
Decision, no.
Wow.
I wouldn't. And that's the truth. I try my very best at this point in my life to be what I didn't have in that moment. Because I think that women were like, I'm an extremely emotional person. People that know me know that about me. I'm the kind of person that like, okay, I feel so strong. And I can ruminate. I can get so lost in my thoughts. I know a lot of women are like that. Like we're a lot, not all of us, right? But some of us are. Just like a lot of men can be like that. But I know women specifically, there will be moments where they'll be like, I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be done. I can't stand this. He don't do this. He don't do that. Blah, blah. When you get lawyers involved, and there was a therapist I was speaking to, both me and him, a marital therapist at the time, that when I told him my decision, he was like, when you get lawyers involved, it gets ugly. He told me that. And, I didn't even realize, I don't think I even realized how ugly it would get, and like I said, if I could walk back in time, sometimes I battle with myself about that. But at that time, I thought I was doing the right thing or the best thing. I didn't know how ugly it could get. And I know a lot of women, we make that decision and we're so hurt and angry. And then 5-6 months later, you're not that angry anymore.
We're going to stop it right there. And we'll stop it right there. So, what did we learn? Was there anything to learn? I think there is. I think there is something to learn. I believe that once we figure out what our actual emotions are dictating in our lives, we have to figure out what our actions are going to, you know, how that's going to result next. You know what I'm saying? Like, so basically stating is that after I figure out, okay, this is what I'm going to do about this right now, now I have to come up with a plan in regards to how to come up with how to do what I just decided on I'm about to do right now, right? Take decisive, precise actions in regards to whatever the circumstance is and what the actions, the suitable actions that are required for such a task, right? And so, I mean, it really just depends, you know what I'm saying, on the circumstances and how we really, respond to them. Tyrese was seen to be a bit emotional online, I can recall, my girl at the time, you know what I'm saying? She would, keep up with some of that stuff. And she'd show it to me sometimes, which was cool. We just chat about it, just how we do. And so that's how I was made aware of it. I wouldn't be checking for that otherwise, but I would see and I would understand. And then, my lady at the time, she knew, I'm divorced and, I have children with ex-wife and stuff like that. So, of course, the kids would be at the house, you know what I'm saying? And, it just was what it was, right? So, when it come down to it, I understood what Tyrese was going through. I saw exactly what was happening. You know, the spinning of the story, the manipulation, the negativity directed at one person and not multiple people. If there's two people in a relationship, or three, or four, or five, then at least two or three people got to get the brunt of the responsibility for that and accountability. However, if you're dealing in a circumstance where it's typically of a culture where it favors mostly, American Africans, black folk, from America, then typically it's going to be the man's fault. It doesn't matter. And so with that being the case, but what we don't really pay attention to is that how the children pay as well. Let's say if he had a son, what is that son missing out in terms of guidance, direction, how a man actually acts when he wants to get something from that son's mother? And opposed to a man who just acts to get something from that son's mother, right? I mean, I have a mother. I understand how things go. I've seen things how they go. So what I'm saying though is that like that's how it goes. But then again, at the same time, a young man has to realize, okay, my mother's just choosing to be in these predicaments. That's not necessarily reflective on me, although it can be reflective on me. I have to figure out mentally how to block those things that is my mother, those influences that are not quite beneficial to my overall growth, and still grow anyhow. That's a concrete jungle. But then again, when it's a baby girl, slightly different, but it's the same though. Nowadays, especially, you know, you want a baby girl to be cared for, loved, shown attention, affection. That's the currency, especially with baby girls. I have a daughter, so people got to listen to me when I say things. Affection, attention. Yes, you got to get her things. Yes, you got to take care of her. Yes, you got to make sure she fed. Yes, you got to make sure she's looking good and whatever, and she can, just be a kid and stuff like that. Yes, but attention, affection, consideration, kindness, things like that matters to her. My son, you know what I'm saying, is slightly different. Those things matter, but on a different scale. You know what I'm saying? So you still got to show that to my son, but it's at a different level of scale because that doesn't matter to him as much. Respect, conquering, being successful at something is more important to my son. And I can see What's up, man? I mean, I think like it's important to really understand how sometimes the women who get married or forced marriage maybe making wrong decisions even when they get divorced, and sometimes they got to see it down the road, and then they understand how detrimental it is to someone. maybe themselves, mostly their children, but it's life. And within life, just keep on living. Hey, like, share, and subscribe. Definitely appreciate y'all tapping in with me. Got another video for y'all, man. I'm gonna keep it going, man. We're gonna keep it going. Check out the music, check out everything, man. You know we out here. So, Lozart, and for this video, until next time, peace.